Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Alfred Mergado, and I'm the Marketing Ops Director here at Magaya, and I'll also be your host for this afternoon's webinar titled Tackle the Top Industry Challenges and Set Up Your Business Up for Success in 2022. I know it's a mouthful, but trust us, it's an excellent presentation regardless of the name. During the webinar, we're going to be discussing the year's trade and logistics challenges, predictions, and trends. Plus, we're also going to take a look at the current state of the industry and discover how you can create an agile supply chain with advanced technology that'll set you up for success this year. A couple of housekeeping rules before we go any further. After our session, you're going to receive a recording of everything that we've gone over. And lastly, once we reach the end, please make sure to send us your questions through the Q&A panel. So, who's going to be talking here with me today? Let me go ahead and present my fellow speakers. First up, we have Mitch Nemmers. Say hi, Mitch.
Good afternoon.
All right, a bit of background on him. He is the Vice President of New Customer Sales for Magaya. He has a ton of experience in software, manufacturing, and logistics. And before joining us, Mitch was in the enterprise software space with a focus on large domestic and international manufacturing companies. Very impressive. And next up, we have Mr. Morgan Hill. Say hi, Morgan.
Hello, everyone.
Hi. Morgan is a senior product manager and a graduate of the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy. He has 20 plus years of logistics experience, focusing the latter part of his career on the digital transformation of procurement, tender management, and allocation. So without any more introductions, let's go ahead and let's get started. Let's begin with the state of the industry. We've actually done the legwork. We've scoured hundreds of headlines to distill down the top industry trends and challenges that are on the horizon. So, customer service is quite possibly the most important characteristic of freight forwarding, and it's quickly moving towards digitization. We all know that freight forwarding is a service industry, but it's also a very interpersonal one as well. Shippers like and want that individualized attention. And a big part of good customer service is communication. Back in the day, customer service meant that someone was always picking up the phone, responding to emails, sending a text message, pretty much doing 20 things at the same time. But we're witnessing an evolution. Shippers expect the communication and the administration side of things to be digitized. So what does that mean? Well, it means that you need more visibility, such as software that automatically shows shippers where their cargo is and alerts them when they're scheduled to be delivered. I know that I haven't addressed the quote that you see on your screen, and it's because it's a bold one. FreightWaves pointed out that 45% of shippers started working with another freight forwarder because their previous one lacked adequate technology. This really highlights how important it is to have a sound digital strategy for freight forwarders. And digitized customer service is so important that shippers have placed cutting-edge technology and digital tools as the second most important characteristic of working with a freight forwarder, even above price, demonstrating that, contrary to what we thought, shipper preferences for working with freight forwarders is not a price war. Let's put it into perspective. Price was literally tied for last place with large scale and global offices. And we all know how useful those were during a pandemic, right? So let's break down the state of the industry into 5 key points. The first one is that we're seeing the supply chain's backlog challenges continue due to increasing high volumes even after the holiday season. Everyone's running around and there's a ton of catching up to do to clear out these backlogs and increase capacity throughout the supply chain. The good news is that industry experts are hopeful that the system will eventually catch up to demand. Second, we have labor shortages. I know that this is something that we have consistently heard about or seen on the news, but it's not just amongst truck drivers. There's been a shortage of workers everywhere, and especially in the supply chain industry. The supply chain was already stressed out in 2020, but it was able to hold its own and continued to work throughout the pandemic. Now, here we are in 2022, and we're starting to see some pickup, mainly due to investments in transport infrastructure that are helping make ports and airports more efficient. But automation and technology are still crucial when it comes to optimizing logistics processes further. Here's another FreightWaves quote: 80% of shippers are willing to pay higher rates to work with a freight forwarder that provides better technology, visibility, and control. Astoundingly, 20% said that they would also be willing to pay for higher rates. We know that in a hyper competitive, low margin industry like freight forwarding, this is a game changer. We can foresee that digital technology and shipment visibility are going to be the most critical aspects of growing a healthy freight forwarding business over the next 5 years. Why? Because visibility helps win new business. It increases your margins and it helps reduce churn. That's kind of a no-brainer. And like we've mentioned previously, shippers are more inclined to work with freight forwarders that offer better technological capabilities and consider it to be a critical part of how they evaluate a freight forwarder's offerings. So that was pretty much my long-winded way of saying that it really boils down to, if there's any freight forwarder that's currently working with inadequate or outdated technology, the time to upgrade is now. So let's keep going with the state of the industry. We've hit number 3. According to different experts, the global logistics providers market is expected to reach 1.1 trillion in the next 6 years. Therefore, those 3PL companies that provide warehouses in multiple locations will have greater demand, since that would mean more efficient last mile logistics with more services and much, much faster. Let's go into number 4. E-commerce. It continues to rise because of COVID-19 consumer habits, which means that the demand for parcel fulfillment and delivery services keeps going up, 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 which in turn gives the carriers control over the pricing narrative once again. UPS and FedEx won't think twice about kicking big shippers to the curb should they fail to agree with their pricing lines. Even though capacity will continue to expand, volumes are growing at a faster rate and will not translate to price reductions for shippers, leaving enterprise shippers without a lot of options again. And lastly, number 5, which is right now what we're seeing with this situation in Ukraine. It's utterly heartbreaking, and this conflict will most definitely impact global supply chains in unforeseen ways. It's going to result in the most unpredictable supply chain map we've experienced since World War II. Experts have stated a few things could happen if this conflict continues escalating and spreading out. First of all, geopolitical alliances, energy and food flows, currency systems, and trade lanes might split as a result of global economic divergence. North American economic integration becomes a new priority. Entire supply chains are rewritten with new sources and partners in the interest of corporate and national security, and that creates massive unpredictability, as we all know. Companies pay premiums to prioritize vendors that can provide consistent and dependable supplies, resulting in higher prices for consumers. We're already seeing some of this, with mainly Western companies shifting their business away from the East and more towards Western neutral states. Plus, shipping is hobbling in the Black Sea and shaking up maritime operations around the world. The Wall Street Journal reported that there are currently 3,500 sailors that have been stuck on 200 ships at Ukrainian ports as the number of vessels hit by artillery off Ukraine's coast increases, and consequences for international transport and global supply chains are growing. Ukrainian and Russian seafarers are stuck in ports all around the world, leaving ship owners scrambling to find replacement crews that can keep these vessels moving. And lastly, few ships are even daring to travel through the northern part of the Black Sea, increasing global daily freight rates for tankers to their highest in a decade, as well as insurance premiums in the region. So now that we've gone over the state of the industry, let's take a breather right now with a poll. And we want to ask you the following question. So you're going to see a poll launch on your screen, which is, which industry trend does your business need the most support with? we actually want to hear. So out of these, we have customer service, high volumes and port backlogs, labor shortages, shipment visibility, e-commerce shipment fulfillment. Let's give it a second there. All right. So it seems like we've answered. Let's share these results. So it seems that right now, the biggest concern is shipment visibility, which is what we pretty much followed by e-commerce shipment and fulfillment. So let's keep going here. And now that we've gone over the state of the industry, let's talk about the industry challenges that we're expecting in 2022. The driver shortages, the port congestions, the rising freight rates, and the capacity constraints are very likely to stick around with us as we move through 2022. There's no magic bullet for fixing any or all of these problems, and particularly as COVID-19 continues to impact countries across the globe. We're getting new variants on a fairly consistent basis, so we need to prepare for another year of unpredictability and uncertainty. Let's take a look at the top 5 industry challenges for 2022. First up, the first industry challenge that we're seeing is a big increase for ocean contract rates. Once again, shippers should expect a second year of big increases for ocean contract rates. Buyers are being forced to consider different, sometimes extreme options due to the increasing challenges of securing ocean capacity amid the log jams and the inflated ocean freight costs in 2022. And really, we're not expecting freight rates to normalize until the market disruptions in container shipping caused by the pandemic are reduced. The ocean transportation sector, unfortunately, has left shippers to pay much more for a deteriorated service. While carriers work to shift vessels to the Trans-Pacific trade to help alleviate stress, the unfortunate consequence of doing so is taking capacity from other smaller trades, creating an imbalance of supply and demand, resulting in higher rates in those trades. In Los Angeles and Long Beach, the potential for disruption is also higher due to the ILWU's labor union contract negotiations. And with respect to COVID, which now we're seeing more of a move towards an endemic kind of stage, which I'm pretty sure everyone's happy about, disposable income will likely shift back to what it was before, which was travel and leisure, and away from home projects and office supplies, which means that technically I can finally go ahead and order something from IKEA without it taking 87 days. Everyone stops focusing on home projects, and now they're focusing more on what they were spending before the pandemic. That shift back to the old spending habits could drive rates lower, but more than likely it won't be until next year. This was a lot to take in, and I've been talking for a minute or so. So I'm going to take a break and ask my fellow speaker, Morgan. Morgan, how do you see this getting any better?
Better in the sense that we can't necessarily drive market rates downward. We can't necessarily ease congestion or do any of that. But what we can do is get the visibility out in front of you in a controlled and organized way. One major way we're doing that is through the Magaya rate management system here, where we offer full service rate management, and that encompasses contract management for your carrier contracts, spot rate management from the carriers out there. We have a freight allocation and incentive management module where we take customers' allocation agreements, we enter them into our system, which is highly flexible given the varied structures of allocation agreements out there in the market today. We consume the booking data from our customer systems, and we kind of smash those together, and we have some matching criteria where we can then offer up a way to measure how well you're performing against your allocations. And that also directly ties into the rate management side, where users can search point to point and see what their allocation is on any given lane, which is tied to that allocation. And our digital contract exchange, this is a really cool service that we offer, where we get contracts direct from our carrier partners on your behalf. This cuts down days of lead time from when carriers provide rates to you to when you get them to us. It's a reduction of 48 to 72 hours, which is huge on a speed to market timeframe to get our customers quotes out in a timely manner. So it's a lot of really fun functionality that we have. Free time surcharge management. We have our own in-house surcharge manager where we take your contracts and we validate them against carrier surcharges to make sure they're the latest and greatest and more accurate. It have a lot to do with margin and access control, where users can control the ability for their users to see certain rates or certain contracts. Some really fun stuff there. And then lastly, with the ability to view rate management on your mobile device. You don't necessarily have to be on a PC somewhere. You can download the app and sign on and do potentially some quoting right there as you're sitting in front of someone that's looking for a rate. So a lot of really, really nice catered tools to provide our users the best functionality to get information out in front of customers as fast as possible.
Nice. That's some pretty cool technology, Morgan, that you're working on with your team. Thank you so much for that. All right, let's talk about the second industry challenge that we're seeing, and it's the ability to meet capacity needs. Unfortunately, the capacity crisis is just going to keep on keeping on. There's just way too much demand and not enough capacity for container shipping. Our industry has dealt with some version of this issue for years, but really it's only gotten worse by the growth in shipping volumes due to the pandemic and the holidays during the final months of the year. It's going to take time for capacity to meet demand, and companies will still need to make the most out of the capacity that they do have. So good shipment management can either make or break a freight forwarder. Now it's Mitch's turn. Mitch, do you have any insight as to how we can improve shipment management that you can share with us?
Yeah, absolutely, Alfred, and great stuff so far, and especially from Morgan. But it's a really good point. Managing shipments is crucial nowadays. You have little margin for error, and so the Magaya digital freight platform really supports that proper shipment management by really streamlining all those end-to-end shipment processes and really giving teams that real-time visibility and control. So we can start with the top of the diagram here with the digital freight portal itself. And really with that, it's making tracking easy with the portal's AIS vessel positions, showing all the shipments underway for your customers. And with that, your customers will really never miss a beat with emails and in-app notifications that'll save you and your team's time, but also reduce those customer inquiries and giving that really superb customer service, kind of that Amazonian feel that we're kind of everyone's moving to, right? Because as you know, when you order something, you want to know where it is, when it's going to be there, and as soon as possible. So that customer facing portal really helps with that, and it delivers a lot of value to our customers and to your end customers, really. And then in connection with that, kind of at the heart of everything is, a good supply chain system, right? Your TMS system. So with Magaya's supply chain, you have everything from your quote templates to quick notes, one-click consolidations and things like that really make daily shipping and your typical freight forwarding tasks just a complete breeze. By being able to exchange information across your teams in real time and manage all of your logistics operations in one single system, you kind of eliminate those data silos and kind of that delay to get back to your customer and have valuable, crucial, and accurate information at all times. And that really flows across everything, right? From your freight quotes to your customs documents, to warehouse receipts, shipments, invoices, and really everything you can think of. And in addition to that, right, you have to have other pieces within your TMS that support kind of that visibility and that traceability, right? So I'll just pick one out of here in that apps and extensions section you see below, and that's container tracking. So with the container tracking extension for Magaya supply chain, it really eliminates wasted time and that manual process of tracking each and every one of your customers' containers with just one click, really being able to track all of your containers worldwide. And it has access to over 100 sea lines, evergreen, CMA, and it really makes it fast and efficient for your teams to be able to have all that information and pass that on to your customers. So, having that real time and direct visibility of your containers from the Magaya TMS platform, wherever they are in the world, it really gives you, a new opportunity to give your customers that really good customer service. And the great thing for us is, we're continuing to add new carriers pretty much weekly to that extension. So hopefully we'll have more and more as the year wears on. The next really important piece of this too, is not a lot of, solutions out there have a customs compliance piece as part of their ecosystem. And so, having proper shipment management really requires customs compliance at its core, right? With Magaya customs compliance, you'll have that real-time data exchange with U.S. Customs, and that provides immediate responses to shipment status, including, may proceed from FDA, release from customs, and much more. So, you'll really gain that operational control with that complete and centralized visibility for all the transaction types and their current statuses with U.S. Customs, all in a single dashboard. So, with those real-time updates and alerts, you can really keep your customers continuously updated on shipment statuses, whereas before that was kind of a black hole, knowing where your actual cargo was in relation to customs. And then finally, rate management here that Morgan had just mentioned previously. Adding that into the mix, you really do gain. Again, I've used it a lot, but that full visibility of your quote performance and the margins when it comes to your rates, within the Magaya rate management. So no matter where or what format your data, rate data lives in, the rate management, allows the digitization and centralizes it for you, so you can have that easy access. So, with Magaya, you can get rid of those spreadsheets and all of those cumbersome tasks and really digitize your rates and quotes, enabling that whole new level of efficiency, service, visibility, and really time to the customer to allow you to win more business. So, with all that being said, I'd say with those tools, it's pretty easy, Alfred.
I think it's very easy, Mitch. We love to see it. Plus, that is a pretty sweet diagram, if I do say so myself. So, all right. Thank you, Mitch. So let's move on to industry challenge number 3, keeping up with e-commerce and direct-to-consumer delivery growth. I think I'm maybe a direct contributor to this one. Personally, the delivery drivers in my neighborhood already know me by name, and my front porch when I get home looks like a fulfillment center. So it's pretty bad. But I'm not the only one. As we know, the growth in e-commerce and direct-to-consumer delivery is increasing the volume of shipments since COVID reared its ugly head. Instead of shipping a single truckload of product to a retailer, many companies now ship the equivalent of a truckload, but divided into individual shipments and headed to multiple consumers' homes. This requires more precise inventory visibility, that word again, within your warehouse, more efficient pick, pack, ship processes, more frequent carrier pickups, and visibility of the shipment all the way up until the time that the consumer receives it. So, Mitch, I gave you a second there to get a break, but I'm tossing it back to you. Do you have any pointers on how our listeners can go ahead and leverage this?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, even with potentially being in an endemic, as you mentioned, hopefully we are, I don't see that this e-commerce boom is really going away by any means. We might plateau a little bit, but I think people seeing the value of being able to shop from their couch and still get the same type of value is great, right? And so I agree with you, Alfred. I think my front porch also looks like that for the most part.
It's so bad.
But
It's so bad.
absolutely. So, with Magaya supply chain, we have a robust WMS that's built into the system that is also ideal for that small package handling, and it can really help accelerate, e-commerce shipment and processing. So, whether it's the package reception, customs compliance and clearance, warehouse management, Magaya really has all the tools built in that you need in order to maximize the visibility, productivity, and profitability to take advantage of this e-commerce boom. So I'll kind of go through these 3 points real quick and a little bit about them. But by using Magaya to accelerate your e-commerce shipments, you kind of have these 3 important roles or key values that you need to be able to hit on. So the first one is clearing customs, first of all. So importing e-commerce shipments with ease is really, really a huge value in Magaya customs compliance, because with our Type 86 mass upload, along with our ocean and air AMS, you can easily upload, hundreds of thousands of line items via an Excel spreadsheet and we automatically will throttle that to customs so that it goes through in a timely, accurate, and acceptable manner. So, being able to load those thousands of house bills with a simple upload and simply and easily and accurately get it to customs is great. So that faster upload really means a faster turnaround time to get your customers their cargo as soon as possible. The next part of it is receiving, right? Almost as important. And, the reception information pushes directly to Magaya's supply chain from the customs compliance portion of the system, so that the creation of your reception is really truly a breeze. With tools like the Magaya Dimensioner as well, you can automate the recording of the cargo dimensions and weight as they come in, along with pictures. So this cost-effective modern warehouse automation tool really dramatically speeds up the manual, repetitive, slow tasks like recording dimensions and taking images, where it can do it with a single package in under 5 seconds. That's the value right there of
Nice.
freeing up time in the warehouse, which is just incredible. And really, Magaya customers have been able to recoup on average almost $40 of lost revenue in about 3 minutes and increased efficiency of every single pallet they process. And we have a bunch of case studies and videos of how our customers use this and have been able to clear up their warehouses by automating some of these tools. The other piece of this too is, using our Flow WMS app as a remote control trigger for that dimensioner and obtaining weights and measurements from anywhere in the warehouse. So you don't necessarily even need to have a person standing right there. We've integrated conveyor belts and things like that to continue to increase the automation with the heavy influx and flow of hundreds of thousands of packages. So, these scans are submitted directly to the Magaya system. They live against those orders. And so, it will send notifications to your customers in real time if you decide to set it up that way too. So it just seamlessly, again, brings your customer more value and more visibility overall. And the other part about the Flow WMS app that's really great is it can also help with directed put away. So you know exactly where the cargo should go and help speed, getting your warehouse back in order when you're receiving these large shipments. So finally, with that warehouse management piece and the directed put away, it also has really robust inventory management controls. So, staying on top of the growing volumes of cargo that comes in and, the small pieces is really easy to stay on top of. So you couple that with, the live track or the digital freight portal app, it really gives your customers that visibility. And like I keep saying, the Amazonian effect of having the visibility and the customer service that they're kind of expecting, across the board. So really, as you can see, Alfred, Magaya really helps to accelerate, some of those e-shipment or e-commerce shipment, capabilities to make it a lot easier on companies nowadays.
No, absolutely. That's putting the pedal to the metal. And anything that really accelerates my packages to get to my house faster, I'm okay with. Thanks, Mitch. All right. So let's move on to number 4. We're still in the industry challenges. A critical part of winning new customers, okay, is keeping existing ones happy and adopting new customer experience technologies, specifically technologies designed to improve transparency and visibility. When you look for specifically visibility software, it can help freight forwarders compete on a much more level playing field with enterprise freight forwarders and their much larger marketing and capital spending budgets. Trust me, shippers care about technology. While we were doing the research for this webinar, time and time again, shippers care about technology. It's something that's reoccurring and it's at the forefront of all their mind. They essentially view them as a necessity for working with a freight forwarder. They have fired their old freight forwarders for not keeping up with technology. And perhaps more importantly, they're willing to pay a significant premium or more for technological efficiencies. So once again, Mitch, I'm going to go. Morgan is starting to feel a bit left out. I haven't gone back to him, but this one's for you. How can technology enhance the customer experience?
Yeah, I mean that's a pretty loaded question because there's so many ways, right? But kind of give a high level answer and then kind of go through each of these points we have on here really quickly. Wouldn't it be really convenient, right, if you had a way for your entire digital freight business to have a single solution, right? That's really what Magaya's goal has been, throughout our growth process, is really helping you get established as a digital freight forwarder as quickly as possible with our digital freight portal. The portal is completely branded and customized so that, it's a customer facing portal that looks like it is your own. It doesn't say Magaya anywhere, right? It looks like it is, Mitch's freight forwarding service or whatever it may be. And it really offers your customers that added visibility and control with that easy self-service access for things like quotes and schedules, bookings, shipments, tracking, and reporting. So, you'll benefit from streamlined processes, overall improved productivity, reducing of costs, and really enabling your team to do things like, responding to RFQs with an offer from within the portal, or managing schedules to provide customers with the next available departure for even easier booking. Um, Following up on shipments collaboratively with customers, right, including file sharing and digital archiving so that you can just share those documents back and forth, identifying the best rates per trade lane, which is going to help you, manage the margins and provide really customized pricing. And then, shipments being visible to your customers in real time with the AIS vessel positionings displays those shipments underway so they know exactly where their cargo is at all time. And the other piece too is it really just enables your customers to build and download and kind of schedule their own reports for all the transactions that they're working on with you. So it really truly is a must-have solution for the modern freight forwarding companies. So providing your customers with this immense, an immersive digital experience from kind of quote to booking and really beyond that, as well as the complete and full tracking, it's really having everything in one place. So having that single source of truth, while also having it automate, your team's workload and everything, really just helps with digitizing your business. And just a couple thoughts here about what Magaya can offer for kind of each of these points that we have up here. From a quoting perspective, customers can quote instantly from your portal using spot or contract rates, and they can choose multiple or single pricing options for a single trade lane. And they can also differentiate per product and save prices, into a formalized quote so that can be shared with colleagues. From a scheduling perspective, complex, multimodal, multi-leg routes are no problem within the solution. The portal's simple and clear design really highlights kind of the most important calls to action for your team and your customers as they use it. So you can convert a schedule into a booking or save it for later, or view the Google Maps interface to display the routing options, graphically. And it's a really, really nice and easy to use tool for your customers and your team. From bookings, customers can book based on their quote directly through the portal, which is an amazing time saver and a great value proposition. So the booking can start from a quote, from a schedule, or even copying a previous booking to save time from inputting all of your details all over again. So bookings can actually be saved as drafts if needed and are sent straight to the Magaya supply chain system, or even a different TMS or ERP of your choice when you're ready. And then from the shipment perspective, customers will have that full view that we've talked about, right, of running their shipments with you and staying up to date with customizable milestones that they want to see, that their customers need to see. So managing documents and conversations with your vendors directly from that shipment is all easily stored and tracked. And users can also receive emails and in-app notifications that are automated. So it's no longer your team having to be proactive. The systems can actually do that for you automatically.
Nice.
So tying in with that, right, the tracking and visibility piece, with shipments being visible to customers in real time, like we talked about with the vessel display, having those push notifications and alerts, again, it's just really showing kind of that minute and that detailed information that people are really demanding nowadays, and is really required as you move into that digital freight forwarding side of things. And the final two, just to round it off here. So reporting, obviously the easy report builder enables customers to build and download, like I mentioned, and even schedule their own reports at certain transaction times for you. And it'll also give you the option to download and schedule reports, via email or to a desktop share site or whatever it may be. So, the reporting aspect really helps the visibility for your team and takes that, kind of manual labor work out of it. And then finally, customers being able to create POs online. All PO functionalities are online for your team's easy access, and the direct system integration really sets you up for an easy PO output. So, by creating shipments directly, the POs are easily and fulfilled and fully archived. And then it also has a template function available so that you can, kind of have your different ones based on customer type, lane, status of the customer, and everything like that. So there's a really lot of good things that can help build that customer experience out.
Very impressive. Thank you for sharing that with us, Mitch. All right. So we've reached number 5 and the final industry challenge. So let's talk about it. Finding and retaining qualified labor. For some years now, the skill set required from people who work in the logistics sector has been changing. A couple of years ago, you were trying to figure out, can this guy lift 50 pounds? Now it's more about learning the latest technologies and can they improve my workflow? And that's why we're seeing the majority of job requirements are in areas such as process automation, data analytics, and AI. The competition for acquiring the best talent is fierce. The key takeaway is that freight forwarders have to maximize the time and resources it takes to keep their staff motivated and trained using technology to save time that will allow these valuable supply chain professionals to focus on strategic tasks, which take more thought. So here we have a solution. Magaya comes in with one. It's called BPO, as we call internally, or Business Process Outsourcing Service. What this does is it enables you to scale your business on demand with the help of highly trained logistics experts to keep you covered in all time zones. This is impressive. The market we know is unpredictable, and you need to be able to pivot your business at any given moment. But it takes time to hire and train new people. We know that. Plus, bringing in new permanent staff onto your payroll is an important commitment that you're making. And on top of that, it comes with additional long-term expenses. But with Magaya BPO, you could easily grow your business without increasing your on-site headcount. So you're probably wondering right about now, how is this possible? Well, when you leverage Magaya's team of expert logistics professionals that are knowledgeable in using the Magaya software through a strategic partnership with Logisoft BPO, we can do just that. Magaya's BPO service helps you quickly augment your business with Magaya-trained logistics industry experts, preparing you to navigate the road ahead, no matter which way it takes you. So after we've gone through all those challenges, we have another poll. And this one, we'd like to know which of the following Magaya solutions would be the most helpful for your business out of the ones that both Mitch, myself, and Morgan have gone through. You're going to see the poll pop up on your screen right now. And then we'll give you a second there to answer. But we are curious, which one do you think would be the most helpful for your business right now? Let's give it a second here while we're waiting for the results. All right. Interesting. Let's give it a few more seconds here. And keep in mind, we will be having a Q&A portion. So we haven't forgotten. We're just wrapping up so we can start hearing your questions. Okay, so right around here, we're going to end the poll. And then let's go ahead and share those results. So the Magaya Digital Freight Portal is clearly number one, and then it's followed by Magaya Supply Chain and Flow WMS, and someone that was interested in all the above. All right. So wrapping up, the supply chain management technology landscape is changing rapidly. We know this, we deal with it day in and day out. So in order to keep up, processes require automation. Systems and data need to be integrated, workers need to have new resources, and managers need to have better supply chain visibility. All of this requires investment into a supply chain optimization platform that can do everything that you need it to. When researching a system, focus on the needs of each one of your key decision makers, as well as what can provide the end customer with the best possible experiences. Remember, customers want that personal touch. It's also important for whatever SCM technology you use to integrate with your business's existing supply chain systems, from the TMS and WMS all the way down to inventory management and CRM systems. A robust two-way data synchronization ensures that every supply chain and business platform, as well as all your team members, are aligned at all times. So the Magaya Digital Freight Platform can do just that. As a flexible and interoperable system that is incredibly scalable, and better yet, has fast time to value and provides each of your business's stakeholders, as well as your customers, with real-time visibility. You can see a nice overview about that. So lastly, we have our final poll question, and it's, Would you be interested in learning more about Magaya? You're about to see this poll pop up on your screen. You can go ahead and answer that for us, and then we'll be moving on to the Q&A portion. I also wanted to take the time to thank both Mitch and Morgan for being with us today. Don't go too far, since during the Q&A portion, you're more than likely going to be hit with a ton of questions. So, all right, so we have plenty of people that are interested in learning more about Magaya. So here's now your opportunity to go ahead and ask us. And after talking for so long, I could use the break. Tell us, what questions do you have over the presentation? All right, Cheyenne, she's already working with Andres. We love to hear it, Cheyenne. Thank you. We hope to bring you aboard with the Magaya family soon. So I have one here. It says, do I need, and this is either for Morgan or Mitch, whichever one's available. Do I need Magaya supply chain to use the Magaya digital freight portal? Which one of you gentlemen do you want me to flip a coin or?
All
I'll take it.
Morgan.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep. So the digital freight platform is one of the largest use cases is putting it in front of your customer. And to do that, the portal consumes rates, and that comes from an integration with the rate management module. So you don't necessarily need the supply chain side of it, but you would need the Magaya rate management side.
Gotcha. Perfect. Thank you, Morgan. And I knew Morgan said Mitch has spoken too much. It is my time to shine. So I appreciate that. Thank you, Morgan. There's another question right here that we have. It's, I'm not sure I really need a digital freight portal. How do I know that I'm ready to digitize the operations? Things have been going well so far. Who wants to take this one?
I could take this from the sales side, because we're seeing this with my team. As Alfred mentioned before, I lead our net new sales teams here, and so what we've seen is logistics service providers are really facing kind of the rising customer expectations, as I kind of mentioned a couple times, and you couple that with growing competition and just the increased complexities in our industry. Conducting business the way that it used to be done with email and phone is just kind of falling behind in some ways. Your end customers are wanting more of that visibility and autonomy and control. And so really, logistics service providers are now kind of finding or needing to find ways to get more done in the day and process shipments even faster than before. So with all that being said, the Magaya digital freight portal really kind of solves a lot, if not all of those challenges and more, right? Providing you with that kind of branded self-service web portal that looks like it's your own for your customers, that helps automate a lot of those routine transactions, that takes up a lot of your team's time and really in a way empowers your end customers. So while maybe it's not 100% of a necessity, maybe in your mind, your customers might argue the opposite with you and say that it probably is to continue to gain business.
Absolutely. All right. And we have time for one final question. And this one, I believe, is going straight to Morgan, which is, compared to the other rate management softwares that there are out there, what makes the Magaya one the best one? Or what's the difference between this one? This one's a good one, Morgan.
It is. And in my prior experience with a large freight forwarder, where I live in Seattle, we used Catapult solely and had done a lot of competitive analysis on other freight rate platforms. I've always stood by former Catapult, now Magaya rate management, for two reasons. One, the active surcharge manager is an incredible way to ensure that the accuracy of the data is being taken into account, where we have surcharges or surcharge values that we may not get or we may not have passed along to Magaya rate management. That is now done automatically behind the scenes. And secondly is the integrity that Magaya stands by with the rates. We don't just take rates and present them as we receive them. There's a lengthy well, I should say a robust validation process that we go through to ensure the accuracy of the rate. So we don't just take rates and post it up there for people to see, where there might not be a ton of confidence in what we're presenting. So those are the two largest things out there. And we have our new freight allocation incentive management module, which is it's highly flexible and catered to meet the needs of what's going on today.
Fantastic. Morgan, we did get one more question from Cheyenne Miranda, and they're asking, is Magaya integrating rate tools with a growing number of VOCC digital rate quoting portals for small volume transactional quotes being pushed by the carriers to the trade? We got a technical question here.
Yeah, we do integrate with spot rate feeds and contract APIs out there. While we in the Magaya rate management, it's not a booking platform, but there is integration where you can hit a link and be delivered to the carrier's website to go ahead and create that booking. However, there is booking creation and tracking functionality in the digital freight portal.
Fantastic. All right. Let's see here. Perfect. And with that, gentlemen, we've concluded our webinar. And everyone, thank you again for joining us today. You'll have our contact information. Like we mentioned in the beginning, we are going to send you a recording of this webinar today. I wanted to say thanks again to Mitch and Morgan for helping me out today. I really appreciate it. And everyone have a great rest of your afternoon. Talk to you soon. Take care.
Thanks very much.